This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to be looking at all sorts of different pictures. We're going to be seeing the beach and, different cowboys and all sorts of things. We're going to be trying to put them together. You're going to be making clues and having people guess what you're talking about. We're talking about Guess What. This is a game for only 3 to 4 players. It's quick. It takes about 15 minutes just to play, maybe 20. So let me show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. In Guess What, one player is the clue giver each round. Everybody else is trying to figure out what he's trying to talk about. There's 110 of these different symbols in the game. You put 9 of them out. We have column A, B, and C, row 1, 2, and 3, and they're different colors as well. The player has 1 minute to come up with a clue that uses 1 in each of these columns. Now they have a minute to do so. If they can't, they can take basically any 3 tiles off of here, put 3 new ones on, and they have 30 seconds to do it. We've never had anybody have problems with the times, but then that's that. So they're gonna look at these, they're gonna find a clue. Now the clue can be a word, it could be a phrase, it could be a saying, it could be anything. So I might look at this and I might say nautical. And I might just say nautical. Then I am secretly going to pick on my board which ones these are. So I am going to pick, you can't see me doing this right now, but I am going to pick the ones that I think is nautical. And when I'm done, I'm going to go like this. And everybody else has their own board. So all the other players basically have their own board, and they're going to be trying to pick it as well. Once everybody's in, then I say I show the answer, and we see who's right. So let's say I'm finished and I put this down and everyone else reveals theirs. Let's say there's 2 other players. They reveal theirs. This guy has 1, 2, 2. Oh, same as me. The last player had 3, 2, 2. Now let's look at this. 1, 2, 2 was a map, a compass, and a ship. And that's what I was trying to get them to guess. This player thought maybe this was some sort of underwater device looking for fish or something like that. 2 and 2. So this player is wrong. He gets 0 points. The clue giver gets 1 point for every player that got all 3 right. In this case, it's 1. And each player that got it right gets 1. So as the clue giver, you can get more points than others, but you need everybody to guess. After that happens, you just wipe all these off. You put them in a discard pile, and you put 9 more out. And just to show you a little bit of sort of the things that's here. So all different things that you'll be going on. And that's pretty much the whole game. Now you track your points here. Points are not secret. You can show them. Everyone has to be able to see what your points are. And whoever gets to 12 first is going to be the winner. So here's 9 more, and it would pass to the next player, be the clue giver. They would say their clue and do it just like that. And whoever gets to 12 first is the winner. Many variants in the rules. Variant 1 is a game show where one player is the clue giver the whole entire game, and he's responsible for all the clues. And each person, is played as normal, and the first person to win to get 10 points wins the game. That one was not very fun. Another method is collaborative. So we put these tiles out here, and any one person, you're all racing to be the clue giver. So everyone is going as fast as they can. Whoever comes up with a clue first says, guess what? And then they get to give the clue. Everyone else decides together on what the correct answer is. If they are correct, they'll get a point by taking one of the tiles as a point. And then they will displace all the rest of them, put new ones up, and it will just continue going. And you just play for 5 timed minutes, and you're trying to beat your previous score, get as high as you can. If you're incorrect, essentially you just score no points. And then we essentially put 3 new cards in A, B, or C, any one column. That one wasn't that fun either. The solo variant, basically it's the same rules as what I just told you, but he doesn't try to guess, he simply tries to find as many clues as he can. That is completely lame. The next one is the connoisseur game. This is similar to Dixit, where basically you get 0 points if all the players guess what you're trying to get to. And you also get 0 points if everybody guesses what you're trying to do. You try to get at least one person, so be kind of vague but kind of good. And this is a very good way to play the game, but it really needs more players. And the last one is the expert variant. And in this variant, it's similar to one of the ones I told you where someone's rushing to be the clue giver. They yell out, guess what? They give their clue. Then the other players, when they're done, put their boards down. And the faster you were, the more points you get. So for example, in this case, there were 2 other players. And then the next to last player this player would basically get 1 point, and this player would get 2 points if they got it correctly because they were the faster ones. Those are different ways to play the game. Now this game came out about Essen in Europe. I don't believe it's going to. It has no plans to get North American distribution from what I was told from Blue Orange Games. And I was interested in this because I saw it and I was like, oh, this is cool. This is kind of like pictures and sort of like Codenames, but maybe a less thinky version, but sort of with pictures. You can play with kids. So I kind of got my hands on this one. And as you can see, it's very simple. It's very easy. Now the base game itself, let me talk about the things I like. The base game itself, the artwork in this game, first of all, the artwork is cute in this game. I love the way that the artwork, the style that's done is sort of cute, and I like that. Now the base game itself is just meh. It's just okay. This game could have been great, but I think it missed on a few things. Number one, it only plays 3 to 4 players. That's a very limited amount of players, especially with a sort of a party game type atmosphere like this game has. The base game was barely average at best. The variants, I think there were 4 or 5 variants. Most of them were worse than the base game. They were just whatever, just adding stuff on. Now 2 of them are actually really good. If you do get this game, the best one to play is actually the expert variant where you're racing. The first person to come up with a clue does it, and then the first person to actually guess what they're saying puts it down and gets more points. If you're going to be playing with the very limited 3 to 4 players, that's the only way to play this game that makes it any interesting at all. It was decent, but even with that, it was probably the best way to play with 3 or 4, but even with that, it was okay. It was not bad, but it wasn't great. The best variant is what they call the connoisseur variant, where it's very similar to a game called Dixit, where when you give your clue, you're trying to make it somewhat vague, not too vague, but not too perfect, because if everybody guesses it, you get none, and if nobody guesses it, you get none. You want to be in the middle. Now that's great, but the problem again with that is you're playing with 3 or 4 people, and to give a clue that's going to be bracketed with that little amount of players is a problem. I don't know why they did not make this game many more players. This thing should have been 3 to 10 players, 3 to 12 players. Maybe they would have obviously had to change the scoring up a bit, because when someone gets one right, he gets one right for everybody, but it's the same for everybody. Everyone plays one round. You can play this up to 12 players. Obviously, it's probably because those discs and those wheels cost money, and the game would have been out of its target price range with all those components, but really it's the way this game really would shine. More than 4 players, probably 4 to 6 is probably would be the sweet spot for this, and you would just write on a piece of paper what your guess is, as opposed to using the wheels, and use that connoisseur sort of Dixit style. I think this game would be fun. So you got to kind of house rule it for me to recommend this, but other than this, it's sort of a miss for me, unfortunately. Plus, Codenames itself is coming out later this year with a pictures version, and so I might as well just wait for that. This was a near miss. Some house rules might make it better, but overall, it was a meh. And that is guess what?
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for backing me on Kickstarter and making this season become a reality. I'd like to especially thank those here that have backed me at the credit level. Now, these video reviews are also available by audio on our podcast. It's the intros and the final thoughts on GameBoyGeek.com. Click podcast.